Good evening, everyone. This is Gail with Traders Help Desk, and I would like to thank you all for being here. Can everyone hear me okay? Can everyone see my screen? If you'll just type a Y and let me know, I would appreciate it. All right, great. It seems like everybody's able to hear me and see my screen. Now, before we get started, I do want you to take just a moment to read over the Nadex risk disclaimer. This is for your protection as well as ours. And basically, anytime you're trading, there is risk involved, and you should never trade with money you cannot afford to lose. Now, for those of you that do not know me, my name is Gail Mercer. I am the founder of Traders Help Desk. I've been trading well over 15 years now. Started out with a company in Greensboro that designed indicators, and I saw the price bars and just fell in love. Now, I do trade with support and resistance, candlestick patterns, and support and resistance, as well as overbought and oversold status. So you're going to see a lot of that tonight, okay, on my charts. If you have any questions when I'm going through a chart, if you'll just type it up, I will make sure that I answer your question. Let's go and let's look first at the market reports. Now, as you can see, this is for all the week. It's for the full week. And you can see that I've got yellow and oranges here. What I do is click on the filter. The only ones I really want to see are the red ones, okay? And only want to see the currencies that I trade. So now when I put that on, you can see that it actually kind of scrunches it down where you're only seeing the red reports instead of everything. And we do have a lot of reports this week. Primarily, there is one on Tuesday. It is tentative. It is the Parliament Brexit vote. Now, for those of you that have been keeping up with the Brexit, they're supposed to exit the European Union on March 29th. And right now, they're saying there is absolutely no way they're going to meet this deadline. So they're going to have to go to the European Union and ask for some kind of extension, okay? Will they grant it or will they not grant it? We don't know. That will not be decided. I believe it's on Thursday that they're going to decide it, more than likely. So on Tuesday, we have the Parliament Brexit vote. Then on Thursday, we may have an announcement from the European Union on an extension, okay? But we also, on Wednesday, have the FOMC, and this is what is called the Quad meeting, okay? You have the FOMC economic projections, the statement, the funds rate, and the press conference. Now, currently, they're not expected to increase the interest rates. They're expecting it to remain the same, but they are going to be looking at the statement as well as the press conference to see when will the next one be, or is there going to be another one this year? Now, then on Thursday, we also have the Swiss National Bank Monetary Policy Assessment and press conference. Not expecting any surprises there. Normally, that doesn't move the market a lot, but just be aware that it is there and they will have it. Then also on Thursday morning, we have the GBP official bank rate policy summary and bank rate votes. Again, no surprises expected, okay? How do you get only the red reports? Up here where you see there's a filter icon on Forex Factory, Joey. If you click on that, just check the red. Make sure you uncheck the others. Then on Friday, we really don't have very many. On the U.S. side, the European does. You have the French flash services, the German flash. Then at 8:30 Friday morning, you have the Canadian CPI in core retail sales. Now, just from the looks of this, I think Monday and Tuesday may be better than Wednesday and Thursday, okay? Just based off of market reports, okay? If you're trying to get into a trade that's going to last, a couple of hours, to me, in my opinion, Monday and Tuesday might be better days versus Wednesday and Thursday when you have a lot of announcements that's going to create a lot of volatility. But that also can create a lot of swings where it spikes up and then spikes down, okay? So just be aware of that. Now, let's go and look at the charts. And this is called a scanner window. And this allows me to actually monitor, all of my higher time frames. For example, the 6 hours, the daily, and the weekly. The one thing that I really want to look at immediately when I pull this up to see, hey, am I going to be trading my higher time frame or my lower time frame? That's an important question to me because it makes a difference how long I've got to sit here at the computer watching charts. And, right now, if I'm looking at my weekly, we really don't have a lot of trending markets. There's not going to be any retracements. You can see between the daily and the weekly, this is dark red, which tells me the momentum is slowing down. This is bright red. This is bright blue on the British pound dollar, on both the daily and the weekly. That might be trending. Okay, on the US CAD, not trending. It's dark colors. The USD Swiss Franc, this is dark red, this is bright blue. So you've got some disagreements, is what I like to call it on that. And then on the USD JPY, you're dark blue, and then this is bright red. So again, you have a disagreement between these two time frames on the ADX. You can also see just by reading, this is the THD RSI. You can see this is blue and this is red. Okay, so there's a disagreement as to whether the momentum is to the long side or to the short side. You also see that up here on the USD Swiss Franc. This is blue where this is red. If this is blue, then you would expect this to be blue as well, preferably bright blue. Okay, so you've got a lot of discrepancies right now just visually from looking at the scanner window. And then, I kind of go through each one because this gives you like a highlight. Sometimes it tells you, hey, you need to zoom in on this right now. Okay. Tonight, it's pretty much saying I might be trading my shorter time frames. Okay. When I pull up the Aussie, this is almost at the point of being overextended to the short side, but this is overbought at the moment. So this is saying down and this is saying potentially up this week. Again, you've got a discrepancy here. When I see discrepancies on my higher time frame, I go down in time and trade the lower time frames. Does everybody understand that? So let's go and let's look at the euro dollar. On the euro dollar, you can see that this is overextended. Okay. So on the daily, this looks like it's going to come down. And yet this one is heading up, and you just had trend divergence here. Again, you've got discrepancies between these two time frames. Okay. And this typically, if I forgot for some reason to look at the market reports, when I start seeing discrepancies like this, immediately I go and start looking because there's something there, typically. Okay. So in this case, you have a divergence here that says, hey, this is probably going to go up. And yet here you have a potential divergence to the downside. okay? Because this would be a hidden divergence provided that this is a bearish bar, okay? Again, you're seeing confusion on the higher time frames. Let's go down to the British pound dollar. Now remember, this can be quite volatile, okay? Last week we went up 200 pips, down 200 pips, and then back up 400 pips, okay? This week we might get more of the same on this thing, okay? So right now, as you can see, it went back to where I thought it would last week, and then it went up. For all intents and purposes, it looks like it will continue up. But again, you're going to have to watch out Tuesdays and Thursdays, okay? Because you have a potential parliament vote on Tuesday, and then on Thursday you have the rate announcement. But again, I would go down to my lower time frames and just try to potentially enter, maybe at an ATR back up to take out the high. Or if it gets to this high and it's overextended, then you could potentially look for a short back down to the ATR, depending on whether you're a trend or counter trend trader. We're all different. Now, looking at the USD CAD, let's see what's going to happen on it today. We're almost at this ATR here, and you can see that we are overextended on the stochastics. I would anticipate this to go up to 34.67. The problem that you have is this ATR that's holding back price. If this continues to offer resistance, then more likely than not, it's going to come back down. So in this case, let's say that you're a trend trader on a daily chart, you could potentially trade this back up to 34.65, but if it still holds, then you could come over here and say, okay, I might actually take a position to the short side here with anticipation of it taking out 29.46. Okay? Any questions on the US CAD? And again, this is where I start looking more at the 2-hour binaries, not the longer term trades. We might not get longer term trades this week because Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is all market reports. And on the USD Swiss Franc, you can see that we've had a retracement. It's come to within about 20 pips of this ATR. Not yet at the point of being overextended, but you're almost there, okay? Now, if this does come down to the 20 line and then forms a bullish bar, that would indicate to me that we're going to go and probably take out the high at 1.0124, okay? This one is trying to curl up. It's not really giving you a lot of information right now. This is not a reversal bar. It was a bearish bar, but that was about it from what I could see. And let's go look at the USD JPY. For the Aussie Yen, if you'll give me a minute, Jackson, I'll go and look at it. The USD JPY, you can see that this is overextended on the weekly. Now, because we're not overextended over on the daily, I would actually like it to take out this high at 112.14 with the stochastics not coming above this previous high at 85.19. That would give you trend divergence. That would more than likely kick off the descent on the USD JPY. Okay, right now I would just be watching this to see what it does. I would really like to see that trend divergence come in. That would be my preferred setup. Now let me see if I can load the Aussie Yen. I don't trade the Aussie Yen very much, so it may take a while to load this on here. See how you have the trend divergence here on the Aussie? That's what I would like to see on the USD JPY, because that typically tells you it's going to push it down. Any other questions while I'm waiting on the Aussie Yen? See if I can get this to load faster. Unfortunately, I cannot get the data to load right now, Jackson. He need green beer today. Oh, I need a green beer, Mike. Yeah, okay, I cannot get the Aussie Yen to load, so I can't make any comments on it. I think I would be watching the euro dollar, but again, Jackson, I can't tell you what position to take. That is something you have to decide. You know your risk level, not me. This is just a overview of what we can anticipate in the markets this week, but it is not trade advice. Any other questions, guys? I do think this is going to be a week that, you're probably going to be better off looking at your lower time frames, not expecting big moves like we saw last week. Instead, if you can, get a setup on a 2-hour binary, then you're doing good. Okay. Any other questions? Gail, it would seem that the hourly daily binaries are more suitable for scalp trading versus trend trading. KM, it really depends on how the market is moving. Were you here last week, KM, when I was talking about the British pound? And remember, on the British pound, I said I anticipated it to either go to the low that I marked on the chart or down to the ATR. And I was able to trade this when it came down here and touched that, and then it started moving up. I was able to do that right back to this ATR, and I did another one down, and I did both of them, I believe on the touch brackets, if I'm not mistaken, KM. But I mean, they were just really nice trade setups. And, I use the touch brackets, but you could also go in there with 2-hour binaries because these are really big bars. Okay. And, it could be something as simple as, okay, it comes back down to the ATR on your 6-hour chart, then you get a bullish bar and up you go. And I mean, you could do a lot of two-hour binaries on that, just looking at the 6-hour, the 1 hour, and a 15-minute. Okay. But you have to know which times to trade too. It's going to move the most during the opening at London at 4 a.m. Okay. Then you get another spurt at 8. But if you're trying to do it like during the U.S. afternoon session, you might, but more likely not. During Asia, unless the vote's coming out during that time, not likely. Okay. Asia just doesn't move that much unless they're going to announce the vote during that time. And I have traded it during Asia because there was a vote. So sometimes it's just a matter of, what time period are you trying to trade? And remember, we've got 23 hours a day that this market is moving. And I think seems like it was Monday I was in the British pound, and then Tuesday I was in the British pound, and then Wednesday I was in the British pound. And they were, most of them were touch brackets. I did do a couple of binaries on them as well. It's 2 weeks typically after we change for daylight savings time, Kathy. So we changed last Sunday. So this week they'll be at 4 a.m. And then next week is when they'll go to daylight savings time. And remember, Asia doesn't. So during the summer, with spring and summer, the Asia opening is at 8 p.m. instead of 7 p.m. But I'll show you something else, Kathy. If you go back to the Forex factory, down here, it tells you right now it's 10 o'clock in London. 10 p.m.? Well, wait a minute. I've got to refresh this because that was a while ago. Yeah, it's 11 p.m. right now in London. Okay, so it begins in 8 hours and 37 minutes, which is 4 o'clock my time. Do you see when I mouse over, it expands it? So if you have any questions, just scroll down to the sessions and you can see. Now, I would like to thank everyone for joining me this evening, okay? I would also love for you to visit my website at www.tradershelpdesk.com, and you can always email me at gm@tradershelpdesk.com as well, okay? And, again, if you have any questions about the spreads or the binaries or the touch brackets, explore with them in your demo account, especially the touch brackets. I love those things. I like combining them with the binaries. They're really awesome products for us as traders to use. Thank you, Al. You have a wonderful week too. Oh, thank you, KM.